Sunday morning, everybody, here at the Frederickstown Homestead. I have continued my list this morning. I did get some sprouts going. I'll give you guys some footage of that in a little bit. We're working on getting, excuse me, some alfalfa sprouts going, and I also have some clover that I'm going to try and sprout. So we have them to feed the chickens and the rabbits and the pigs throughout the winter. I also am going to be canning turkey broth today, and then peeling, coring, slicing apples for applesauce, and separating what apples are good for the applesauce and what apples are going to be good for the animals. So the animals are in for a lot of treats this weekend. The cabbage is in the jar fermenting for sauerkraut. I got that finished up last night. You can see the pot on back there, reheating the turkey broth that's been refrigerated for the past week. Just because I haven't been able to get to it. But we'll have the pressure canner going to do the turkey broth while I'm doing the peeling and coring the apples, getting them ready to make applesauce. But that's where I'm at this morning. I will check in with you guys throughout the day.
Well, I know it's a little bit dark in here. I need to double count my uprights and realize that when I went through and did this section, I actually wound up taking more than what I really wanted. I've got one tall one left, and then I've got two of the smaller ones, which that barely reaches up there. So in order to do the next pen, I'm gonna have to produce some more, so I need to get a quick count. Need 6 upright and probably a few more of those. Definitely a few more of those, so that I can actually run the framing like I have in here already. So looks like I'm going to be ripping some boards this morning. And I actually do want a piece of this so that I can get the measurements that I need, make sure everything stays uniform. Oh my, they're being noisy this morning. Alright, things to do, things to do. Well, I've gone through, cut the additional uprights that I'm going to need, along with a few of the additional boards that I'm going to need for the framework. So those are ready. And the smoker, can't really see it very well from over here, but it is going. Seems to be holding up okay at the moment, so I'll just be keeping an eye on that. But this is what I'm into at the moment.
Alright, everybody, so I am set up to get the turkey broth canned up. I got the broth had gotten up to a boil, so I turned it off. Got my jars heating up, and the pressure canner getting ready to go. But that's where I'm at right now for the day. I'm gonna get the broth canned. We have quart jars. I'm thinking we have right around 5 quarts in the pot. And that goes at 10 pounds of pressure for 25 minutes. So I'm going to get that going, and then I'm also going to start getting the apples peeled and in the pot for applesauce. I'll check in a little bit.
Well, now that I've got everything I need down here, or should have everything that I need, I'm going to be starting on the second pen. ideally, well, it should break down to being the same dimensions. Biggest question on my mind is, well, no, it's not even a question. The odds are the doors are going to be side by side so that I can actually get the runners in for the slat door. It'll also make it easier to be able to look in and check both of them at the same time. But it'll come out. I'm going to have to trim this back right here. But trim that back and it'll come out right against this beam. But before I actually get started, I'm going to go and check on the smoker, make sure it's doing what I want it to at the moment. And then start trying to get the framework up. Okay, so running this setup, there's not really a good angle to show you what I'm doing. Mainly because, move some stuff out of my way for a second. I have to scurry myself up using that as a foothold so that I can work right here, which is pretty much like face level with the floor above. So if I set the camera up over here, you're gonna see my back. If I set it up here, you might see my hands moving, but you're not gonna see what I'm trying to line up or square out or any of that. But gotten this one secured, same setup as that one, and that just gives me an end piece to put my siding onto. And then, well, had to do this so that I had somewhere to secure this to that gave it a better hold. But I actually need to kick that out in a touch because that's no good. That's better, but I may have to get up there and readjust that because I need that pretty much flush, because that's where the rest of those are going to be, and I don't need that kind of bend. So I'm going to get up there, straighten that out, and then I'm going to start attaching the high end so that I can get the bottom end attached and actually have this pin framed out. Okay, things to do. Well, the framework is ran, and that'll wind up being the same dimensions as the other one, and I did change which side the door was on just because when I run the siding I can actually deal with this. But this is where I'm going to call it for the day. Gary Ann needs a hand with cutting up and prepping apples, so I'm going to go help her out. Probably work on the siding tomorrow. See how far I can get done.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give a closing out video for the day, things we got done. these are the 5 quarts of turkey broth that I canned up today. I'll get the jars cleaned up tomorrow, get them on the shelf. It is a nice, rich colored bone broth. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It smells and looks delicious. We got our pot going with applesauce. That'll probably simmer overnight. And then we'll get it canned up tomorrow. I told you guys we were working on doing sprouts. This is the first set that I did, and it's actually done. I actually neglected it quite a bit and did not keep it watered properly. But it's alfalfa sprouts, and it's just going to go out to the rabbits tomorrow. And then this is our next round. I started them soaking that yesterday. So I will drain them off in the morning, and we're actually going to try and do them in a tray. Because from what I've seen, you can get it to grow in a tray, and it comes out kind of like turf, which will be really good for feeding the rabbits and the chickens throughout the winter. So we're going to experiment with that this week and see how it goes. And then, because it decided to start raining this afternoon, all of our stuff out of the smoker came in. So we have some smoked sharp cheddar. I don't remember what kind of cheese, Priano cheese, a pork roast, a couple of beef roasts, and 2 very large hams that have been smoking. We were planning to leave them smoke overnight again. And it started raining. So Mike ran out with Seth and grabbed everything out of the smoker, and we were going to get it packaged up and in the freezer. So this is where I'm going to leave you for the night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a good one.